Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and we're gonna jump right into this one. So I've been training for about 8 years now, believe it or not, and if you've been training for a little while yourself, you probably realize, or at least have realized, it's a bit of a constant evolution from where you start to where you are now, and where you're going to end up taking both your training and your nutrition, right? What it is now isn't what it's always been, and hopefully if you continue to progress, it's not what it's going to always be. So thinking back, you can probably remember, well, at least I remember some of those couple tips or piece of advice that were your first real direction, with training or eating. And, no matter how crazy they probably seem now looking back, because it was something to hold on to, you held on to it. And, well, I guess if you're like me, you're glad you've moved past that. So the goal of this video is, at least when it comes to training, to save some of you from that, or at least speed up that process. So today we're gonna start that by focusing on just one muscle group, but depending how things go with this one, it might just end up turning into kind of a bit of a series on the channel here. We'll eventually work through all the muscle groups. At least that's what I have in mind. And with each of these videos in this, I'll be assessing and critiquing my workout. Today's just happens to be the arm day, but I'll be assessing and critiquing the first video published on the channel for that muscle group. So today's arm day was uploaded over 5 years ago. Yeah, this should be an interesting one to watch. If you want to watch the full video of that old arm workout, just for kicks, I'll make sure to link that below. So, all right, let's do this. I don't want to watch this, but let's do this. That's a solid intro. I forgot about that intro. I missed that. I like the new one though, but that was a good one. All right, so I'm warming up. This looks like it's arm day. I'm doing pull-ups. So I think here I warm up, let's see what I say.
All right, so it's arm day.
I'm thinking here I'm warming up my whole upper body and kind of touching just a little bit of biceps and triceps. Not the most efficient way to do it, because I'm probably putting more blood in my back and chest for sure, because I'm isolating my pec with a fly, which does not involve much tricep. Just want to warm up the upper body a little bit. It definitely works. I looked warm. So it looks like I'm finally got to the arm portion of the arm workout, which is a good thing. And starting with some solid dumbbell curls, alternating, not bad. Probably going a little bit heavier, but it looks like I'm getting a pretty decent contraction. It's hard to tell what part of the set it is. Like I would try not to start a set swinging like that, but toward the end of the set, it could be effective. If I want to put a little more tension on the arm on this, instead of doing alternating, what I like to do now is just go, if I'm hitting 10, I'll hit 10 on one arm and then switch to the other arm. So I'm not getting that break in between each rep, and I like that. That puts a lot of tension on both heads of the bicep. And then when you come up, I don't think I'm doing it as good as I could here, but rotating that pinky out, putting extra tension on the short head of the bicep. That's a nice little point there to feel it more, but not bad.
Heavy over here with the 50s. I'm doing a drop set. And a lot of times people are like, hey, you can only rest this much, then you gotta get back at it. But for me, especially at the start of my workouts, I know today's a little different because it's arm day, but when I'm doing big compound movements like that, I really like to take my time, slow it down, let the weight increase, because I know later in my workout, that's when I start counting the time in between sets and keeping it to a minimum. But for now, recharge, because I really want to give it a lot of energy between the sets. And of course, stretch out, let the blood go through. I'm tired already.
I've taken too much caffeine here. I can't follow what I'm saying, but I'm drop setting after hitting the 50s. So definitely a good way to extend the set, get some extra tension on the muscle with still good or better form than well, I guess I wouldn't even be moving the 50s much. I'm surprised I'm doing 50s. That's pretty good. Not bad. The next exercise, all right, this is interesting. I'm using the overhead tricep extension as a warm-up for my tris before I hit the first tricep exercise, which is just a regular cable pushdown. I mean, that could work. Now, if I would have just done a more effective movement at the beginning, I shouldn't have had to warm my triceps up again. Or if I would have supersetted the first bicep exercise with the first tricep, then my tris wouldn't have gone nearly as cold after the warm-up. So I guess it's better I warm them up again than not, but probably some time wasted for sure. And then we've got this push down. Yeah, tempo wasn't really in my training vocabulary at this point. You know, it was just move the weight, try to get a good squeeze. The form here could definitely be better. I would keep my elbows in a bit more of a fixed position just out in front of me and then press down away from me. I don't like coming down kind of over top of my body because I can get some joint pain there, especially as I'm going heavy. But if I go down and away, I usually feel pretty good. Now, again, tempo is huge. I'm sure I'm trying to keep some tension on it on the way up, but you know, I'm really missing out on the eccentric, so that negative portion of the rep when the cable's coming back up, because I'm just kind of letting it come back up and then using more of the stretch reflex of the muscle to press it down versus squeezing, controlling at the bottom, coming up, feeling the stretch, pausing, repeating. Again, this could be later in the set where I'm just trying to bust them out, but I kind of doubt that because it started like this. Camera work is solid too. Shout out to my buddy Dom, who I remember helping me film this way back. All right, and another ad, of course. Drinking some water in between sets, that's an underrated one. I've been pretty much always doing that. Yeah, it's a good way just to kind of make sure I'm staying hydrated throughout the workout, just with some sips. Not chugging a bunch, but just some sips. So it's doing something right here. So that's a good question. Dom is asking me here why I'm picking hammer curls over supinated curls. So let's see my answer here.
For me, it's a personal choice, and I think when you hit arms, you're missing out if you're not doing some kind of hammer curl. But we already hit our pronated curls. We did our drop set, and we need to build some width. So doing those hammers are gonna help thicken those arms.
Ah, all right. I was getting there with the width. So yeah, the outer muscle there would be your brachialis and the radiobrachialis. That's really what you're working. That ties down into the forearm, helps build some thickness there. Yeah, all right. Not bad. Good answer. Good answer. All right, so we'll skip ahead to me actually doing them. Let's see how this is. Yeah, definitely probably a little heavier than I need to. Again, I do like the intensity. Form's not all bad. The speed, again, the tempo is just a little fast, so I'm missing out on some extra tension on the negative portion where I'm letting the dumbbell down. Oh, that's interesting. So I did them kind of straight, and then I came across, which now at this point in my training, I like just coming across with a bit more of an angle. I feel like I can attack that brachialis a little bit better, especially as I almost start to rotate my wrist down. So my palm doesn't end up fully facing down, but that usually ignites that outer portion of the arm there pretty good. A little flex and into, oh, it's interesting. So it's almost like it's a similar motion to a skull crusher, which some of you guys might be familiar with, but instead I'm doing it on the cable. Now I like these better with a rope attachment to the cable because as I come out, and twist, I can start to really hit the outer head of my tricep there, that lateral head. These, I'm not doing the best job keeping my elbows in a fixed position, and again, controlling the negative. And then I'm hitting like a V-bar push down. Okay, so it looks like I'm supersetting. I'm not doing a lot of talking here, so I'm a little lost. And there's no text. So it looks like I'm supersetting a V-bar push down with a straight bar cable curl. A little bit redundant with the cable curl after doing the dumbbell curl. Oh wait, all right, now I don't know which one I'm supersetting, because the next exercise is the reverse grip on the same straight bar, but a reverse grip tricep extension, which I do like those. There's a couple things I would change, but now I'm getting lost because I don't know what's independent and what's a superset. But at this point in my training, usually I was doing 4 sets at anywhere from 8 to 12 reps. So for sure it's a lot of volume here. All right, now a cable. Oh, this was a good one. I haven't done this in a little while. Wouldn't do it at the end of my workout now, but it's a variation of a preacher curl, but a great way to isolate the bicep, especially the short head, as you kind of twist your arm at the top. But this off-knee cable curl, if I would only slow down and squeeze and feel the stretch, man, could have some bigger biceps now. Damn. Someone probably told me that. Probably didn't listen. I was like, yeah, I'll slow down. Let me just add 20 more pounds first and rep this out. Damn. Come on, man. But I was enjoying it. I will say that. I was enjoying training. That's also important. All right, hitting the other side, sipping some water, good stuff. And is that it? Is that the end of this? I hope that's the end of the workout. We don't need to see the recap. That's enough. All right, so I've processed that, jotted a few things down on what I would improve, kind of assess the tempo and the form already with the last video, but I really want to look at the structure, volume, and length of the workout. Those, I think, are the 3 main things I could have improved on when hitting this arm day. So the first thing I would have done is, instead of starting with the traditional pull-up with the cable fly, I would have used that same mindset, because I felt like, and I still to this day feel like, when I warm up a bigger muscle group, I kind of hold the pump a little bit longer. That just could be because my heart rate's higher than it would be just trying to warm up a smaller muscle group. So I would have done that, but instead of the pull-up and the cable fly, I would have gone with the chin-up and superset that with a close grip bench press. The chin-up by far engages more bicep than that pull-up is going to, and then it's still warming up some muscles in the back because you're engaging your lats there. And then, of course, with the close grip bench press, I feel more of that tension on my actual tricep versus my chest. Chest gets touched a little bit, so a little bit of blood flow to a bigger muscle group, but primarily warming up the tri. And I think that would have been a much more efficient use of my time for the warm-up, and 4 sets of each of those back-to-back could have for sure been the first working sets of the workout, instead of just kind of doing a back and a chest movement and then having to re-warm up my tricep later in the workout. Let's see. So next, I would have taken that overhead cable extension with the bar and replaced it with a rope extension. Again, on that rope extension, I feel like I can get a much better squeeze on that lateral head of the tricep at the top of the rep. And then the advantage of that overhead movement is that when I'm fully stretched, I'm placing a good bit of tension on the long head. So solid movement. I would have moved that up, hit it with the rope, and then I would have done the dumbbell concentration curl first, so I didn't just have to go as heavy with a standard dumbbell curl where I'm just putting more stress on my joint. And then, in order to fatigue my bicep, as you saw, I'm having to swing a good bit. So in order to minimize that, I would have started with a more controlled concentration curl. In this variation that I'm doing right here, I really like. I picked this up from Charles Glass not too long ago, and even with this one, as opposed to the off-knee concentration curl, which is still effective, you can almost self-spot at the top of each rep, which is useful in extending the set. So you're doing pretty much force negatives by using your free hand as a spot. Now, after I've already kind of isolated and attacked the bicep with the concentration curl, I'm gonna then move into the heavier of the curls, which is still considered an isolation exercise, but because I'm moving more weight, I like to almost pre-exhaust that muscle, right, with the concentration curl, because then I don't have to push as much weight when I'm doing, either the standard dumbbell curl, or in this case, moving to the barbell curl. So still hitting both the long and the short head of the bicep with the movement. Again, tempo here is important. Even though I'm kind of moving some weight here, I'm squeezing, controlling the weight on the way down, trying not to use too much momentum. And again, I'll be using the superset and pairing the exercise together with the tricep pushdown. I particularly like the V-grip attachment for the cable. I really feel it in kind of the medial and lateral head of the tricep. And here, again, like I was kind of failing to utilize before, those negative portions of the rep are huge. So really focusing on keeping tension on the tricep with that negative portion. And then that brings us to the last superset. So all of these ended up being supersets. Just when I train arms, whether I'm doing it as a session alone or combining it maybe with a shoulder session, I've just found it a lot more efficient to pair these antagonist muscle groups, so the bicep with the tricep together. I found the pumps better, and then I'm not dragging my workouts out too long, which I'll kind of wrap up and get to that point again here after these two exercises. So I do want to build that thickness, so I'm still using the dumbbell hammer curl, just a little better in the execution of the movement. So adding that slight turn inwards at the top. And again, this is specifically targeting the brachialis and the brachioradialis, right? So that's what's kind of adding the thickness to the bicep. And then here is kind of where, not necessarily overkill, but I do really like the feeling of that reverse grip extension. Now, instead of doing both hands like I used to do, I find I can get a lot better squeeze on the tricep and really target that medial head by just doing a single hand handle attachment, because it has the ability to pivot a little bit more and keep the tension directly in line with my arm, which keeps more tension on the tricep versus kind of the fixed position my arms had been in with the double hand reverse extension there. And that's it. That would be the session. It's a little more condensed in terms of the total sets. So originally, I believe I had 16 total sets for the biceps and 20 sets for the triceps. But the big difference being that those were all independent. None of those were supersets. So the workout was arguably over a double in length. I mean, at this time when I was training, I was probably in the gym for 2.5 hours plus every time. And the longer you go in the gym, you just can't execute exercises with the same intensity. So yes, you're getting more volume in, which can be better for placing more tension on the muscle over a longer period of time. But those exercises toward the end of the workout, I found just start feeling less and less effective as far as placing enough tension with enough intensity to stimulate muscle growth. So condensing it down, I feel much more efficient in the workout, and I'm still, believe it or not, getting in 16 total sets for both biceps and triceps, which is kind of the upper limit of the amount of sets I would do per muscle group in one session. So that's it. That's how I make my arm sessions more effective, at least up until this point in my training. I'll write in the full updated arm workout just below the like button in the description if you want to follow that. I'll also have this workout posted on my training app if you want to follow along and get the added benefit of being able to log all of the weight you're using for each set, as well as follow the exercise demos live while you're training. And if you're looking to follow a structured program, I do have all of my favorite training splits, as well as the current program I follow that gets updated every week in the app as well, plus a nutrition section that continues to evolve that's designed to really walk you through setting up your own nutrition and your own meal plan. So I'm curious, let me know in the comments section what you guys think of this video. If you enjoy watching me kind of suffer through watching my old training footage and and I'll bring more of these a little more frequently to the channel. I for sure eventually want to get through all the muscle groups with you guys, and I mean, it's a little tough, but it's interesting to look back on. So anyway, that's all I've got for you guys. Thank you guys for watching. That's a corrected and improved arm workout. But what do I know? I'm just Merc.